So hi everyone, my name is Annabella Chow. So my project for this summer internship was to make a new website for the structural molecular biology SMB under SSRL, and my mentor is Mike Sotis. So yeah, the goal for me was basically just to move information from an old out-of-date website to a new website using Backdrop CMS and to style the new website to make it more modern. Basically, the problem with the old website is it's really blurry up here, but if you look on the left side, bottom, you'll see that this side is like the old website. It's really sad looking if you actually go on the website. And the problem was that there were a lot of security issues because this was built in the 1990s. So it has not been updated since then. And so I was tasked with the job to make it more modern and to basically move things. And yeah, so this was the new website that I'm currently working on. And um, under the structural molecular biology SMB, there were also three sections that I had to move information from. So there was the MC, which is the macromolecular crystallography, small angle X-ray scanner diffraction, and X-ray absorption spectrum. And under all of these different divisions, there's different beamlines that have different modules that I had to include. And yeah, so the website's purpose was basically to contain modules for scientists in order for them to learn how to access and use the beamlines first in the facilities over there. And also to give the public a little bit more information about what each division actually do. So there were two purposes. One was to make it user-friendly so that scientists know how to access and can easily find the information they are looking for, but then also to make it appealing and attractive for the public so that they can easily learn more about what SLAC does at SMB and SSRL. And yeah, so the background about the old websites were that it was first created in the 1990s. And so my mentor actually started making a new one a few years ago with Drupal 7, which is another software for building websites. He actually finished building it in Drupal 7, and then Drupal 7 announced that it was reaching the end of life in November 2023, which meant that he had to once again make a new one with a different updated software. So he had the option of using Drupal 8 or 9, but because they had significant changes, it was essentially basically learning how to relearn how to use a new software. So instead of learning how to use Drupal 8 or 9, he decided to use Backdrop CMS. There were a few reasons. The first reason was that Drupal 8 and 9 had a really high learning curve. It was very, very different. The features they offered were also very different. Many of the features that people loved in Drupal 7 was removed. And the target audience for Drupal 8 and 9 was different. So a lot of people that like Drupal 7 eventually started moving to Backdrop CMS. Some of the developers decided to develop something similar to Drupal 7, but it was an improved version with all the new improvements that were needed from Drupal 7, and they put it into Backdrop CMS. So that's why we ended up deciding to use Backdrop CMS, and that's what I did for this internship. Yeah, so some of the features of the Backdrop CMS was that there were layout templates. For example, in each different page, you can have a different template. This was different from Drupal 7 because Drupal 7, you can only choose one template, and that was it for the entire website. But for Backdrop CMS, depending on what content I can have a different layout. So for example, up there, I have an example of the modules for scientists. And down here, I have an example for the public audience. They have the same layout where it's the sidebar on the left side and then the content on the right side. Whereas the homepage down here, it's a little different. It has boxes in the middle, and then it's got text in the center, and then there's even a background picture. So all of this is customizable. And as a person who's making the website, it was very easy and user-friendly. So layouts were also very efficient also, because for example, in the modules, I may have the same exact menu on the sidebars for like 50 pages. Instead of having to make a new layout every time I make a page, I learned that I could actually just put in a whole bunch of the same pages and make in the same layout, and then just put in specify the visibility so that certain contents only show up at certain pages. So that made it a lot more efficient. And yeah, so that was the example of layouts. Then there's views. Views is actually really interesting because, making websites sound, when I first started, I thought, oh, it's not going to be that hard. And then I realized, oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want to do, but I can't seem to figure out. And that's where views happen. Anything that you see from like these beautiful boxes in the homepage, all of this was created in views. And views make it so that you can make it prettier. You can make it so that you can have tables. You can make it so that certain slideshows or highlight links show up. All of this is customizable through views. And that one took a while for me to figure out, and I'm still figuring it out, but it's pretty powerful. And I think that was actually pretty cool for me to learn about. And then another feature that Backdrop CMS had was CSS injector. So I didn't really have to learn HTML to build this website because Backdrop CMS does all the work for me. Occasionally, I do have to go into the HTML code and fix the styling and stuff like that. But also another option is that Backdrop CMS does give you some styling options, but it is a little limited. So if you wanted to be more specific for like a specific page, or to be more creative outside of what Backdrop CMS gives you, they have this option for the CSS injector where you get to write your own code in CSS, and it will be applied to the pages that you ask. So for example, in the homepage, I had a background that I wanted to add. Originally, it was a sad blue color that my mentor put in, and I was like, yeah, we should definitely change that. So he was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's add a background picture. But adding the background picture meant that the text page, which says our group provides state-of-the-art, that section would have been hidden because of the color. So when I use CSS injector, I was able to customize it so that there would be a white background filter so that we can see the text. So that's an example of how the CSS injector could work. And another cool factor about the Backdrop CMS feature was that there were modules. So like if I wanted to add, for example, a reCAPTCHA for when I'm filling out the form to make sure that a robot's not the one for, filling out the forms, I could add this CAPTCHA module. And that means I don't have to actually make it myself. People make it, they put it up on the modules, and you can just download it and start using it. So it's kind of like, I don't know, the Apple apps. You just download apps and you can use that as part of the of your own website. So that was great about the Backdrop CMS feature. And overall, I would say that Backdrop CMS was very user-friendly. It did take a while to figure out things, but once you start figuring it out, it's not too bad. Some of the challenges I faced was like, really, it's just like anyone who starts a new project. It just takes a while to start learning how to use the features. Fun fact, the first day I started working on the website, I crashed the website. My mentor had to ask the IT guy to re-upload the previous day's website. I still don't know what happened, but that's a fun story to tell. And yeah, it was kind of funny because I was thinking the day before, he was like, oh yeah, don't worry if it ever crashes, which probably won't happen. We always back it up every day. So it won't be that bad. And I was like, oh, in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, this is not gonna happen. I'll make sure that I don't do something wrong. Next day, after a whole day of work, it crashed. I was kind of sad, but it was a good learning experience, and it was kind of fun afterwards in hindsight. Yes. Yeah. And then for some personal challenges, I've learned to work without a specific deadline. My mentor is really nice. He doesn't really tell me like, oh, you have to get this done in 2 weeks, but it helped me to learn to be more self-motivated. And it helped me to push and try to go as far as I can. And I'm also learning how it feels like to work without a lot of interaction. As someone who likes to work with people, this was a new experience, and I think it was great for me to get a glimpse about how this type of work may look like in the future. Yeah. And so for some further projects, as I continue the last 2 weeks of, well, it's less than last 2 weeks, the last few days of the internship is to continue modernizing, transferring the data. There were also some further projects that my mentor was hoping to do, was to build modules that was specifically catered for SMB websites. For example, there were some calendars specifications that he wanted that all the modules that were already up there did not provide. But then we could create our own and make our own module for that. And yeah, that's the end of my
Vince. All right.
That was a wonderful presentation. I was curious, what type of security issues did like the old website have?
That's a very good question. Honestly, my mentor didn't get into the specific details, but I think it was just because they basically coded it all in HTML. So in the 1990s, all of this security issues with HTML, I guess, wasn't realized to the extent. Some of the websites also do have some like user dashboard stuff that you can, I guess, enter information. So I think that could be where security leaks, there were some potential security leaks that needed to be addressed.
So by using CMS, like you're able to fix the security?
The
issues?
CMS is not a website provider. It's more of a software to use for building a website. So I think they needed just, I guess, a new way to put. Yeah, I wasn't given the details about it, but I would say like the new website was just more like maybe where data needs to be put in, there's like a little bit more security issues.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Or maybe they have to overlay security layer
Yeah.
on top of this, because yours is basically
I'm just
data and graphical user interface looking.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not doing any security things.
Right. Okay. Question? Okay, here we go again. You guys need to move up one row, just one row.
Okay. Thanks for the presentation. So I'm like familiar with this website, so I'll ask a question about it. A lot of it is like static information, but I think there's one tab on the website that's like the beamline